Hi, I'm Max Victor, and I'm the new head of school stepping into Christian Fellowship School here in Columbia, Missouri. The talk about coronavirus was just starting in the beginning of March. And even in the first couple of days that I was here, there were even debates about, do we shut down? Do we not shut down? I knew that we needed to have something in place just in case. And, it started with me going around and asking teachers, if we were to have to go to distance learning or remote learning, what would that look like for you? But as I heard this wide range of ideas, I was like, it's good for them to hear from each other. Let's put these into one place. So I made like a doc that everybody could add to, here's my plan. And then we could share ideas off one another. The idea was, well, these should be all in one place so that kids and parents, they have it, it's all centralized, because what I really wanted to avoid, and unfortunately this ended up happening in the nearby public schools, but you had 100 different methods of communication, 100 different ways that remote learning was gonna it had all these different versions, and some were effective, some were not. It's very decentralized. So I wanted it all in one place. So then I realized, I was like, we need each teacher having their own environment where they could be posting their materials, whether they're using Google Classroom, whether they're just posting written instructions, whether they're making videos for a flip model. So I just built a Google site. And so it's something that's collaborative. You have lots of contributors to this one website. And the end product, when it's published on the viewer end, is very clean. It doesn't give you the customization options that our official school website has, where it looks all fancy. Google Sites is very plain and kind of blocky. Literally, they're called blocks. If you arrange these blocks, and they have preset spots where you could move them. But that for us was good, because for the teachers that weren't as tech savvy, they weren't too afraid of having their website end up being so crazy where things were out of match or out of whack. We didn't try to recreate the regular school day with them virtually attending classes. We know our high schoolers could do that because they're one-to-one. They have their own device. But the little guys, if their parents are using the computer, they're not necessarily able to sit with them and help their first grader attend a virtual Zoom call. We went with more of a DIY. The teachers send materials home. Some teachers are doing Zoom calls. Some teachers are making videos. Some teachers are having written work posted on their sites, because that work can be done at different times throughout the day, which allows for shared devices to be used within one family. We really are presenting this as a regular school day. Learning is happening. We know it is. We can document and measure it to a pretty healthy degree. We had 2 days where we were in the classroom knowing that there was going to be a likely, transition to remote learning. So we had those 2 days to really make sure the students were prepared, since we had them in person. I made sure that website was built in advance so that the students could look at it, even just by seeing it, knowing it exists. If they're at home sitting, well, what should I be doing right now? They know that there's a place they should be going. And on our school website, there's a link that pops up that takes you right there. There's multiple ways to access it. They could access it on their phones. So these students were well aware in advance that if we shut down, this is where you go. It's definitely pushed our teachers to kind of honestly push their boundaries a little bit, and they're outside of their comfort zone. I just really have a heart for what these teachers are doing, because I see the amount of work that's going in to prepare these online learning experiences. I wouldn't just call them lessons. There's online learning experiences that we're trying to recreate. I think as a school community, which includes parents and includes teachers, I think we're all learning a lot about what learning can be, what that can possibly look like in the future. Parents love that kind of stuff, and they love the personal connection too, with Zoom calls. The fact that each teacher's webpage has his or her own flavor on there. That reflects, it feels like it's their classroom to some degree. You can only come so close. And we're prioritizing engagement so that the students have things that they can work on that are going to hook them, as opposed to something that could just be busy work. But we also have our specials teachers. They're up online as well. There's videos being posted for gym class. There's a way to create art projects and send in the picture, a photo, and send it in. We have extracurriculars going on. We have a 3D print. We have a 3D printer. We just did it remotely. The software is all accessible at home. We have kids that have already been sending us schematics, and we've been printing them off. I just deliver them to the house or just drop it in their mailbox, so the kids can learn CAD. We have video editing. So video production is going on. Some of the kids are exploring that. We have digital music, which is accessible. All these things are available from home. There's really a lot that you can be doing. And so I would argue that our students are getting experiences online through remote learning that they wouldn't even be getting in a normal school year at the public school. Again, we're a small school. We have fewer than 300 students, and that means it's going to be a smaller staff, and we're one building. And so even in the prep and planning stages, I was able to go room to room and make sure this individual teacher has what they need to succeed. And our IT director was able to go to cover every student to see what their situation is as far as technology access and internet access. That simply is not a possibility in the large public school districts. They simply have a more difficult task. They have a higher level of need in their communities. But I will say I'm aware that they made multiple attempts to launch and reconfigure remote learning. And so when we made adjustments, it was like, well, we're going to reduce the workload by about 20%. And then now it's like, well, we're going to transition to more of a project-based and more personal connection. And these are things that we're making tweaks to an already implemented and well-managed system. Whereas in the public schools today, had to basically stop and completely reconfigure. And then when that happened, then there was mixed communication from the teachers and what the district was communicating to families. We're prioritizing a personal connection with the students. And so I basically told some of the teachers, now I told some of them, like, hey, you'll figure out your curriculum and how to do instruction. That'll come. I mean, we have a nice system in place, but if nothing else, have that personal connection so that the students can see your face, or they can hear your voice, or something personal, or they could see a picture of the classroom or a picture of their classmates somewhere. That would be the starting point. And so our teachers, especially in the lower grades, they have a self-contained classroom, so they have their own page, and so they still post worship videos, just how the same ones that they would be singing and dancing along with in the mornings every single day. These are posted on the webpage. And so the students have some sense of, hey, this is what we do at school. And so I could watch this and enjoy this and connect with the Lord and worship God even from home. We also, with the older students, have been just cold call, a phone call home. We checked with the parents that it was okay with them first, but those parents that opted in, teachers have just been calling to check in. And at first we thought it'd be awkward. We thought, what do they want to hear from us? But actually most of the students were really happy to hear from their teacher, because we know that there are students that might be hurting, or they might be in a place spiritually where they see a lot of trouble in the world around them. And then oftentimes in their home, we have a lot of stress in the home right now. We have students that are worried about their grades. There are students that are worried about their parents' safety if the parents are still working, or we have students where they're seeing a financial situation that's not ideal right now. And so just hearing, hey, there's an adult that cares about you, who's thinking about you, and then that reminder that, and also there's a God that's thinking about you and who cares about you. That's been really crucial and really key. As far as Bible in the middle school Bible teacher has done something that really impressed me. He moved away from assignments. He even admitted, he's like, you know what, this isn't what I want to be doing. I'm tired of sending out worksheets for Bible. I want to just move to small groups. And so he's like arranged the whole thing of small groups with Zoom calls. And so these middle schoolers are going on to Zoom, and they're able to tackle kind of spiritual questions that are appropriate for their age level. And there's this youth ministry that's continuing to happen, which is just incredible for me. I mean, that was our greatest need. And, as a school administrator, I was able to set up the platform and the online learning. I had enough IT knowledge to be able to make that happen. But I really depend on these youth ministry leaders who have the drive and have the heart to set something like that up. And so I'm really happy that in particular is happening. These students are getting a spiritual connection with one another. Very fortunate to have these teachers that are doing that, and also this technology that enables us to continue to connect. But we're available to help anybody who wants to see what we're doing. This is something that's the case where remote learning and otherwise, we do things our way. We don't act like it's perfect or like we have it all figured out. But, we do have awesome teachers, and that's a great starting point. And, I would welcome anybody who wants to reach out and just kind of see what we're doing. And we've had challenges and obstacles too, and I'm happy to talk about that as well. But we've been very fortunate to have just great teachers and a great supportive community to make the best of this situation. And most of all, we've had a God who's been with us this entire time.